It is my great pleasure to be sitting right now with our very own Beci Rohkohl. Thank you so much, Beci, for talking with us today. And I know you know what the topic is. I wonder, is there a time in your life when you had to face fear and were able to transmute that into faith?
Yes, there were probably more than I can count. I've had my fair share. I have been thinking long and hard on this topic because there's so many things that I could have shared with, but I was a little afraid that I might startle some people or whoa, too TMI, too much information, right? So I kind of honed in on a point where that when I was in my early 30s, I was in a really hard place. And I was put in a position that I felt like I had to choose if I had any value at all.
Wow.
And I had myself in a situation, in a relationship that was not going well. And at one point, I wound up in the hospital. And I pressed charges, and then come the day that I got the letter that said he would be released if I didn't show up for court. And I love Linda, and I'm very connected to her. I know that because she said something just a minute ago that really chimed in as I had to decide whether or not I was worth the effort, the life, the things that I wanted, whether or not I had any value that I could stand up for myself. And this was really hard because I come from a background where I wasn't taught these things. There was no training on really any life. I mean, it was survive at best. And unfortunately, when you're put in those situations, survival skills is all you have, and all I had. And for me, I didn't know that I had any intrinsic value. It's before I had actually started counseling, so a counselor couldn't tell me. I didn't know really what to think about any of it. So I sat down with that letter and I started praying, and I didn't know what the outcome would be. I didn't know whether or not I would show up. My father said he would go with me, and I told him that I didn't need, his support, because I felt like if I faced this with this big burly man at my side, then the person would feel that that was the reason I was there, and I needed to decide my value on this.
Wow.
So I decided I would go. And before I went, I wrote a letter. They asked me to write a letter, and they actually read it in court, it had to be God. Because I can tell you that the words that came across on that letter, I don't remember writing. I have no recollection of even the verbiage that was used. And the judge said he had not, in all his time with domestic violence, seen a letter that was so eloquently written about what this was doing to the person and to their children. And I sat there, and even as I sat there in the court, the person sitting there threatened me, and I decided I was worth it. I was worth trying to make my life better and getting away from this and making sure this person was held responsible for what they had done to me. So I came through it with a lot of prayer and in baby steps, and with an understanding that I needed to figure out if I had any value, and I had figured that out, at least in the beginning. And I kept going from there. Mind you, that's not my perfection, that's only my progress. So that was my story.
Powerful story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Beci. And I don't think you scare us at all.
It's good to know. There's more.
Thank you again.
Thank you.